In continuation with what you were saying as conflict resolution, or having a conflict of opinion with your partner, I remember one of the conversations where we were also discussing about how men suppress their emotions in order to avoid conflict, and I assume that is not the best way to go about it. So, what are some early signs that you would suggest or recommend to men and women to notice it while it's happening, and what advice or strategies can be employed to overcome it?
Okay, so this is becoming one of the biggest issues these days with men, especially, be it married men, but because, as I said, there is too much societal pressure, and because of that, uh, men are able to suppress their emotions or suppress their anger, and that's when I also help them to channelize the anger instead of suppressing it. So, okay, so there are two things into this. There is something called as repression, then there is something called as suppression. When you talk about repression, is because repression is kind of suppression which you or you push down your emotions or whatever you're feeling because of people around you, because of the influence of people around you, like your parents telling you, you being bullied in a college or wherever environment you are, your people, friends, everyone telling you to suck it up as a man. That is repression, when you try to suppress things or push down things by the influence of others. Another thing is, now when we talk about repression, that is the thing. When we talk about suppression, it's when you do willingly, when you reject things, when you diminish things, when you hide things and push it down. There is no self awareness, there is only self preservation, there's uh, suppression so that you are socially accepted. So these are two kinds of things that usually, or rather, are happening with men today: repression and suppression. Lot of times suppression is because the way men see how it is going on in their families. There have been cases where the parents have been suppressing their emotions or anger to themselves in order to not fight with each other because of conflict of opinion. So in such cases, what the boys or the kids do is, when they observe their parents, they eventually learn that. They learn to suppress their emotions. So in that case, they don't speak up. They want to avoid conflict. They won't speak up. They will suppress their emotions. They will suppress their anger. And they try to put up a happy and contented face. When this happens, people start walking all over you. You don't know how to say no, you don't know how to handle a conflict, you run away from it, and one day this bursts out in the form of either an abuse or an anger or in any kind of a violence. A lot of times when men suppress their emotions, they tend to incline towards substance abuse. They drink a lot, they do other substance abuse. The reason is, it's not about the substance, but the state of mind that they go in after consuming the substance, where they feel free, where they feel they can just blurt out anything, they can talk about anything, and then they feel contented when they just speak out anything they want, because they're not in control, and all the emotions come out after consuming the substance. So the state of mind that they attain after consuming certain substance is what they're looking for, when in real life they would be suppressing everything. But a man who's suppressing everything is not a regulated man. In fact, he's a wounded man. It's very important for a man to understand that suppression is not the key. For uh, for a man to understand if there are signs of suppression is when you let people walk over you. You say yes to everything. You don't say no. You feel the anger, you feel the uneasiness, you want to say no, you want to put up a thought in the conflict, you want to put down your opinion, but you're not able to do it. You have a lot of overthinking in your head. You are not happy as a man, you are not sure about things as a man. These are the signs when you as a man are facing suppression but are not able to put up your opinion. For a woman to understand if a man is suppressing is when the person is trying to avoid conversation. Usually when you are suppressing your emotions, you try to avoid conversation because you understand after this conversation might lead to conflict where you might have to bring out the true in the true nature in you, and it might lead to differences. So the sign, one of the signs is if a man is avoiding conversations, if a man is suddenly bursting out in anger in between, when you see the person is pretty normal for quite a long time, suddenly something triggers him and then he bursts out in anger, that is one of the signs when the person has suppressed his emotions a lot and then it suddenly bursting out like a volcano. Then a man is always lost in his thought. That is another sign, because if you're suppressing something, you're not happy with it, it's creating chaos in your head, and you're thinking about it all the time. You're not able to focus on your work, on your family, you're not able to concentrate on something. So a lot of these men are lost in thoughts, and that is one of the signs women should be looking for, that the man is in stress or is suppressing. And last but not the least, the person is consuming a lot of substance, that is alcohol or any other kind of a substance. As I said, the state where what you attain after consuming a substance is what you're looking for as a suppressed man, because that is the state where you're not in control, but yes, you are expressing freely. But that's not the right way, that's not the healthy way. You're affecting your mental and physical health both. So if a man is abusing substance, that is one of the signs a woman should be looking for, if the man is suppressing his emotions or having a stress.
Well said. So that leads to the last question. There is a lot of stigma associated with even asking for help because of the self-sufficiency culture that we are in. And specifically, I can only imagine what happens to men, when it comes to asking for help. So, because of this, there would be a lot of internal battle that would be continuously going on. So, how can they help themselves to seek help when they're dealing with relationship conflicts and mental health challenges? And where can they look out for support?
So, as I said, there are so many support groups that are coming up today in every countries, because uh, people have understood that the total suicidal rates in the world are more about of men than women, because men ultimately, see, that's another thing, when men, too much suppression and too much self consumption can lead to that. So the suicidal rates of men are more than women in this world. So uh, yeah, so there are so many self-help groups coming around. Even in India, the awareness of men's mental health is growing. There's too many self-help groups coming in. There are closed groups coming in. There are group coaching. A lot of corporates are now understanding the importance of group coaching, mentoring. They're putting it. They are also having closed groups in their offices. They're having mentors and therapists inside the offices too, so that the employees can talk to them properly, or in case they are faced with any stress. There are a lot of call centers, like what you're doing is also something really, really great in Book My Therapy, that you are having call centers, you're aligning coaches, mentors, therapists for people who need help. So such initiatives are taking place all over the world, even in India. So I think you can reach out to such platforms, you can Google it. Talking about the stigma is going to be there. The stigma is there. The stigma is associated because men fear being judged. See, when you start talking about your emotional health as a man, when you start talking about what you're facing as a stress burnout, people are like, okay, why are you crying like a girl? You're a man, man up. So that puts the person in a state where the person thinks, oh yeah, I'm weak. Am I weak? Am I really that bad? I was talking to in one of the conferences. So I mean, in a talk where I literally heard someone in the audience stand up, a man, and say that yes, making or crying or showing your vulnerable side makes you weak or shows you are weak. Literally, I mean, the man said, being vulnerable is not weak. Being vulnerable is actually something brave, because you're addressing your emotional side. You're actually seeing the issue or the problem and you're handling it. So forget about the stigma. Try to show your vulnerable side in a way where you are recognizing the problem, not cribbing about it or not criticizing it or blaming yourself. That's the wrong way. That's one thing. Uh, of course, yes. Now talking about the stigma, it's as we said even in the last podcast that yes, stigma is there. Men feel the shame that if I go to any therapist, if I go talk about my emotional health, people will shame me, that what kind of a man you are. Then there is a fear of judgment, there is a fear of not being accepted in a society. We still have the patriarchal societal pressure that you're a man, you should suck it up, you should not talk about all this. We are built with such a DNA that we won't seek help. That kind of an attitude is still there. So, and there is discretion with every coach, every mentor, every psychologist you go through, so your details would not be let out. So in such a discretion, you can walk in, you can talk to the coaches, you can talk to the people where your details would not be let out, so it would be kept private. So that way, if you don't want to reveal about you seeking help, would also be kept in a box or would be kept under the carpet. So that would assure your privacy. So I would say do definitely see a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist, coach, whatever you can. And in today's world where technology is taking over, we do have such helps online. We have people coming up. We have platforms like bookmytherapy coming up where you can just go online and take help. And because of that, have actually seen a lot of men take action, bring a change in their lives, uh, be a better regulated man, and they are vocal about it. Be vocal about it. Even if you're not going to a therapist or coach, try to be vocal to your partner, try to be vocal to someone you're very close. Start journaling. We sometimes feel even the closest person to us might judge us. So if that is the case, start journaling. Put down your thoughts. Don't let those thoughts pile up inside you. Yeah. So if you follow these things, there are definitely a lot of self-help groups. They are ready to help you. You just need to take that first step. Taking the first step is brave enough because you are addressing the issue. Don't let the societal pressure or stigma affect you.
Continuation with this topic, you also mentioned about close support groups, where men can enroll themselves in. Because you're in India, so people who are listening from India, where can they reach you if they want an in-person or an online session? Because I know in Canada they can reach out to me, and then I can connect them to you.
So, close group sessions definitely help. The energy that you exchange with the people around you, you know, men do, what happens is men do try to, when they are not in the right state of mind, they try to be in the company of men who are in a similar state of mind, who are suppressing, who are not in the right. But when you are in a closed group, when you are seeking help, you have to be in a group of men who are more matured, who have a better thought process, rational mind, who are regulated. So that way you also feel, that you should be belonging here. So that should be one step. So in a closed group, you will see people who are vulnerable like you, who are working on themselves like you, and the energy that is being circulated will definitely help you heal yourself. And of course, uh, close group physical has a different impact, no doubt. But we are in a world where technology is easing out a lot of our communication. So I definitely see a lot of closed groups meeting online with people from different parts of the world. Even if you're meeting online, even if you're talking to each other, that is definitely helping you, to cope up with your issues, to have a better positive energy, understand your issues, look inside yourself, exposing your vulnerable side. So yes, even online closed groups are definitely working out, and they are actually happening and they're giving results. If someone is wants to reach out to me from India, I have my number where you can message me. I have my email ID where you can mail me. and you can book a session with me.
Okay, I'll add a description of this video. So, speaking about vulnerability,
Yeah.
I can only imagine that a man thinks that, if I speak up or I'm vulnerable, um, when being in a relationship to my partner, there would be a certain fear of judgment. So, is that true? What do you think?
Yeah. So in a way, men do fear that if I am vulnerable, my partner won't accept me, my wife won't accept me, my girlfriend won't accept me. But it's very important to understand what vulnerability means. Vulnerability doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong because you're addressing the issue. A woman would definitely accept a vulnerable man, a man who's ready to accept his vulnerabilities in a way that the man knows what his emotional issues are, and the man is able to handle them in a better matured way, in a regulated way, rather than cribbing about it, self criticizing and self preservation. So definitely a woman will accept a man who's vulnerable, but considering the fact that the man is working on his vulnerability and not let it work on him, or not let it abuse him or affect the people around him, or even having a using it as a victim mode, and supporting or justifying your bad behavior.
Wow,
Yeah.
definitely insightful. So is there anything else that I should have asked and have missed?
I think you've covered it all, and definitely was a meaningful conversation, I
For
think.
your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Neha. It was a great pleasure to be as a guest on a podcast. And you're doing a great work by introducing book my therapy for a lot of people who definitely needs help and who are seeking professional help.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
If you like this episode, please hit the like and subscribe button and let me know in the comment section if you have any feedback or review for us. This will help us reach maximum number of people and create awareness about men's mental health. Thank you. Bye.